All right, Scott, another event in the books. This was a big one. The Grand Prix was back, and it seemed like from top to bottom it delivered. How happy were you with Bellator 252?
Extremely happy. I mean, it feels so good to be back here after being away for 8 months and having to put basically this tournament on hold for 8 months as we got through the COVID, reality. But I was just walking around as I got here earlier in the week, and I was like, this is like Groundhog Day, because I feel like it's a fight, but it's the same fighters that we had 8 months ago that on March 13th that we had to tell them on the afternoon that, look, the fight's not going to happen and we're going to send everybody home because of COVID and it's becoming dangerous. So it was the right call, but it's just really a surreal experience to have them all back here at the same venue here at the Mohegan Sun, to have the continuation. So a lot's on the line. You saw today we had some amazing fights. I mean, it might be our best fight card that we've had top to bottom for the fights here at the Mohegan Sun since we came back in July. Pitbull delivered. Sanchez delivered. Sanchez impressed me because when you think about the last fight and what did he do to improve, right? I mean, the guy really has improved, his skill set to take it to the next level. And Duke Rubens is a great coach. I remember his fight with Pitbull as if it was yesterday in Israel. I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. And it was a war, and I think it was a split decision. I think it was a split decision, I think, and Pitbull won the decision, but he's a tough kid. Sanchez is a tough kid. Pitbull can hit hard. He's got power. He's got a complete game, but I think it's going to be a pretty amazing fight when they get it on for the semifinals sometime early next year.
How tough was Daniel Weichel? Did he surprise you at all from eating those body shots in the second round and somehow getting up and fighting the rest of the fight?
That is, you can't teach that, right? That you cannot teach that. It's that he just had he had to dig deep, probably deeper than he's ever dug before, and I think he learned a lot about himself today, about how far he could take it, to dig deep into that perseverance and indomitable spirit as an MMA fighter, as a martial artist you have to have, and he was getting hit with some shots that were really, I go, it's over. I couldn't believe he lasted, that, I think it was the second round. I couldn't believe he lasted the second round when Sanchez started putting on him. But it just shows you the amount of mental strength and, perseverance and just that whole spirit. It's like you're fighting his spirit at that point. You're not fighting his technical skill or his body shape. You're fighting his spirit. And like I said, I think he learned a lot about himself today.
Yeah. Circling back around to the champ, do you feel like when you look at MMA as a whole, that maybe he doesn't, even though we know how good he is and he's double champ, maybe doesn't get the respect he deserves? He's just been so dominant for so long and been your champion on the posters for quite some time now.
Listen, we are lucky to have him, and he's been a great fighter for us. He's been a great ambassador for us. He was here way before me. And I tell you what, I look back and I saw a lot of his old clips over the last week, just looking around on our YouTube channels and different places, and I said, this guy reminds me of a young Roberto Duran. If you had to put it in a boxing sense, right? He is a young Roberto Duran. He is not afraid of anybody. He's going to bring it. I think he's the best right now. He's the best featherweight in the world, and that's it. I mean, to me, it's like he showed it again today. Why he's so dominant and why he's so respected. If you're in the MMA business, you know who he is, and to me, it's like, he's going to have his hands full with Sanchez, so I can say that. And then on the other side, you have the fight with DC and AJ next week. We'll determine who fights the winner of the two winners. So it's going to be a great tournament. I'm so happy we're continuing with this featherweight championship tournament. And these guys they earn great money along the way, and then at the end they'll have a $1 million bonus on top of their purses. So it's a lot of money for these guys, and we're happy that we're finally getting it together and getting it. Putting it on.
And I know the pandemic, when it interrupted the tournament, it was kind of both sides of the brackets were staggered, right? So obviously the semifinal fight is next week for Caldwell and McKee, and these were the quarterfinals. So when do you expect this fight to happen? That this side of the bracket sort of to catch up? Do you think, obviously, 2021?
Yeah, I mean, I want to try to get this fight into the cage as soon as we can, because we'd like to do the finals sometime, in April or May. That would be a good time frame, I think. But if we could get this fight in the cage, late January, I think that'd be ideal for us. And then you got February, March, and then April we do the finals. Is kind of long overdue. Let's put it that way. You know, who knew that the pandemic would hit, shut everything down? I mean, it's unforeseen, right? So, you know, in everybody's lifetime that's alive today that has never been through anything like this, and it's been a tough challenge to keep this thing going. And you saw the protocols we have here, and it's, you know, the bubble here. It's a very tight ship, and it's a very secure place and safe place to throw fights. And we're looking forward to bringing those guys back here to get it on.
And I know the last couple times that you've thrown, you've had Grand Prix. Sort of towards the end of the Grand Prix, you announced we're going to be doing another Grand Prix. So I know you talked about women's flyweight as a potential. Is that something that we should expect coming up soon?
You know, I'll tell you that's not guaranteed yet. You know, when I look at our weight classes, I think about our 135-pound weight class. You know, that we just added a bunch of killer fighters on there, and I think about, you know, the female 125-pound weight class, and maybe we'll reserve judgment to see what happens on December 10th when Lima fights Velasquez, and see how that fight goes, and see you know what the outcome is, and how exciting it is, and that sort of thing. So, you know, to me, we have 3 or 4 weight classes that we could really bring in a tournament. I mean, to me, it's like our 205-pound weight class tournament could be a great tournament. Our 205-pound weight class could be a great tournament as well. If you think about all those great fighters we have in the I mean, to me, I always say this, right? It's the greatest light heavyweight division in the planet, and with any league. So, to me, we have several choices, and you know, we're going to sit down with our internal executive group, and we'll sit down with the networks, and we'll figure it out.
Yep. And 2 more questions for me. One of them, you have 2 more events left in this year. Have you guys started planning in January? Are you going to be back here? Are you guys going overseas again? Kind of any sense of what we should expect coming into the new year?
I don't think we'll be overseas, and we're just working out a few details because we have to, make sure we're on the same schedule as the networks. So we're going to try to figure that out in the next couple of weeks. But my goal is to get back here maybe towards the end of January, and then you know, get busy all year. Europe, that going over there we might take a beat on that because we went over there, we did it, but it seems like the situation there is challenging right now, and it was very hard to put on those fights that we did in Milan and Paris. It was really a stretch. We had to get government approval and get letters from the government for all the fighters, and it's not like just showing up and going here we go. So to me, I think that we'll do the fights here, invite the athletes here, and I think it might be better suited for our company.
And I know I haven't asked you about this for a few weeks, but I like checking in. Any sort of update on Fedor when we can see him fight again? Any type of advancements in your talks?
You know, he calls me all the time and says, "When am I going to fight?" And part of it is, we'd really like him to fight when there's an audience available, but that could be challenging too. So we'll have to make a decision here pretty soon. And we're trying to get some of the visas for his fighters. Has been a little bit tough, during this, I want to say, transition period. So we'll wait and see how that all unfolds, and then we'll make a decision on when he'll fight. But he's going to fight in 21 for sure.
Yep.
For sure, no matter what, because he has to fight, and he's got to keep going.
All right, I lied. I have one more question for
Sure.
you. Selection season. I don't know if you saw that one of your former fighters actually ran in Huntington Beach to be on city council. Tito Ortiz won the election.
Yeah, I saw that.
And that might be a first, right? A fighter you promoted getting into
politics
like that?
I've never heard of that before, but yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think he has great intentions, and let's see what he can do in Huntington Beach.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Scott, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks.